terms of your jewelry design, what elements of your heritage have you infused in this design? Because from what I can see, your design very avant-garde, very, very surreal.
We have incorporated, for example, the enameling techniques. Even though the techniques are French, but there are certain techniques which are Indian as well, which is, I would say, champ levé is a technique which is also used in Indian traditional jewelry. So we have incorporated that technique as well into our jewelry. While what we have also done, enhanced by when we produce Masterstrokes, is make the jewelry much lighter than the traditional Indian jewelry. While the craftsmanship, the craftsmen come from West Bengal, these are the ones who produce it. And each of the Masterstrokes pieces is hand produced. That's very important. Each traditional piece in India is produced by hand. So that's another thing we have taken it forward. We have not mechanized it. We are producing it by hand, continue that tradition to keep producing it by hand. That's very important.
I see that when I was looking at your jewelry designs, there is this part of the storytelling that I feel that when it comes to Indian jewelry, there's always a sense of drama. There's a sense of elaborateness that is very charming. And I feel that with your jewelry, although it's very Western, the whole feel and aesthetics is very, very abstract, okay? But I could still feel the element of storytelling, the element of what we'll call it, ostentatiousness and elaborate detailing is very evident in your pieces.
Yes, it begins each piece when we begin. It begins with a story. For example, I am working on a story which is called The Alibaba and 40 Thieves. So I'm trying to produce 40 pieces into that collection. Another story which we have worked upon is The Charm of 8 Arms, which again revolves around octopus, inspired by octopus, but it is not about talking about octopus. It is about the charm of the 8 arms of the octopus, basically. Similarly, there's another story which is called The 5 Elements. So we're talking about the earth, fire, all those 5 elements. So every piece at Masterstrokes, or every collection at Masterstrokes, begins with story, drama, in that perspective. You know, there is a storytelling to every piece, to every collection. Yes.
Yes, I can see that. And the way you narrate your stories and your tales of fantasies are definitely different from what the other brands are doing. There's a certain whimsical about it that is totally very, very alluring. Yeah. I believe Masterstrokes, as aptly the name has said, is the strokes of a master crafting a work of art.
Yes, each piece is a masterpiece. Yes, that's when we thought of the name, we did a lot of research, what we wanted to do. And when we named it Masterstrokes, the idea was not to replicate a piece. Each piece had to be a masterpiece. It had to be one. You know, so that's how we started working. That's how we started imagining. That's how we took it forward, that each piece is only one of a kind. Someone wears it, when a lady or woman wears it, she feels proud that that was the only piece created in that collection.
Is there any of pieces you would like to share with us so that we can talk a little bit more of the unique craft, which is basically a convergence of French enameling with the Indian storytelling techniques?
Well, this ring here comes from the Charm of 8 Arms collection. So we produced, I think, 9 pieces in this collection. It has a pearl into it, and there are 8 arms reflecting the arms of the octopus. And in these pieces, each piece was different from the other. So the first piece in one arm was different than the 7 arms. In the second piece, there were 2 arms different than the 6 arms. In the third piece, 3 arms were different than the 5 arms. That's how the story goes even in this one.
So I would say that this story is unique to you, because I don't think I've come across another designer or another brand that has that imaginative of bringing an element, which is the octopus, which is what we all know, and be able to craft a tale of 8 so beautifully.
I think so. If you think so, probably, you know, yes.
The artist is shy right now. He's very happy with this. And I mean, seriously, it's amazing how you interpret that simple concept of the octopus into a beautiful jewelry that has that kind of allure and the fluidness in how you embrace that pearl. And this is, for example,
this is another piece from the same story, The Charm of 8 Arms, but this is so radically different from the other piece. It's a South Sea pearl, but even then how the 8 arms are flowing are different. It's different. And then again, when these pieces come over there, you realize that maybe 2 had diamonds and 6 had something else. 1 had diamonds and 7 had something else. So even in this one, in some arms there's enameling, and in some arms there's diamond. So the numbers keep changing from 1 to 9.
Is enameling a critical part in your every piece of jewelry? Is it a core attraction in the jewelry, or is it some they have enameling and some doesn't?
No, in all the pieces, that's one thing I retained as common in Masterstrokes, because when we started thinking and producing Masterstrokes in India, there was nobody knew about French enameling in this country. Nobody really knew what French enameling was. So we did some research. Even I have not gone through any study of French enameling. We learned it practically. And after we learned it, we started applying to the pieces of jewelry. And I realized that this is art, it's pure art. Enameling is pure art, how well you do it. If you do it a little wrong, the colors go wrong, it becomes a useless piece. Then it doesn't make sense. And I think all the credit in terms of using the right colors at the right time and combination goes to Smriti, because she has a fashion background. She's the one who decides what color has to go with what. And yes, each piece does have enameling into it. It could be little, it could be large, but it has to flow with the entire design and the thought of the piece.
I see. So it is either whether it's an expense of enameling or a touch. It's all depending on the story that you have, used to craft the piece of work, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. It has to go with the story.
So in Indian tradition, there is this also technique of enameling that's called, or is it Meenakari? Is a jewelry concept that applies a form of enameling as well.
In Hindi, enameling is Meenakari.
Yeah.
Enameling is Meenakari. But when in Indian tradition, there was only one kind of enameling being done. That was champ levé. That was a technique which was used, and sometimes probably basetite, but not too much. But what happened was they never in the Indian enameling or the Meenakari, it was a solid color being used. There was no transparency. So when we started not just using champ levé, we started using a lot of plique à jour. Plique à jour is transparent enamel, and even in champ levé, there's a lot of shading. In a single band, you could find the same color being shaded from dark to light and turning into another color.
I see.
So that, yeah.
So basically, in your technique that you approach, Meenakari is, well, in India, that's a unique craft that you have for enameling. But you're using the French techniques that is able to give you that fluidity of colors, transforming from one shape to the other.
Exactly. In India, in Meenakari, there were about 9 or 10 colors being used. In the way we did it in Masterstrokes, I'm using almost 300 hues of colors.
Well, that's amazing. 300 colors. Yeah. That would be such a beautiful, able to tell so many stories with those colors. I mean, and yes, also how it brings to life a work of art is very important. The variety of colors and how you can fuse them together. So thank you very much for your explanation and your elaboration of Masterstrokes and how you've managed to use a traditional craft in Indian jewelry making and concepts and transform to a world-class work of art that is really unique.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can you elaborate with us, how does your Tichu brand leverage on that heritage that you have, from India, that you have infused it into your work and has made it completely different from what is out there and is uniquely yours?
So how Tichu started was because there were things I used to always look for that I wanted to have in my collection, and I could not find them. That's how Tichu started. So I started making pieces which I thought could be worn by both men and women. And they were not like common pieces that you can find in the market somewhere, right? So that's how it started. So one of the product, like a button cover, which is a very simple product, but I thought of it like, how would a man go out in the evening if he had to just walk out of his office and he had to attend an occasion, and he just wanted to dress himself right there and then and go for a function. So this product, button cover, just comes out from there, that he can just get up, dress up his buttons, and just walk out to an occasion. So mostly the product that is there in Tichu is like that you just want to dress yourself up and go out there.
Smriti, your designs are extraordinary. Your subject matters are very audacious, very Western sometimes, and totally like wildlife, about nature, conservation, appreciating the wildlife, and it's really raw and glorious. Such concepts are very, very Western in terms of what they're looking at, the nature conservation and wildlife conservation. However, is there anything in your design or your brand proposition that actually taps on your Indian heritage or rich Indian heritage of design and craft?
So though this brand is doing global designs, but of course it comes from the heart of India. The artist that does this, it's a technique called repousse, where you have to beat the silver to get it into the shape. It's a very difficult art because when you are beating the silver, actually the design is coming on the other side and not on the top. So it's very difficult to do. But the artists in India are so well versed with this that they really get out the best on the metal. And like this piece that I want to show you is a replica of the dagger, which was used by some Indian warrior. And it's replicated with the same art that I'm talking about, repousse. And all my pieces have crystal in it. So you can see the crystal dagger coming out from that silver encase. And why crystal? Because it's a very positive and it absorbs negativity. And so all my pieces have crystal. That's what I love about them, that they're going to spread positivity all around.
Excellent, because I believe in that too. In every piece of jewelry that we have, it should bring us something that is enriching and be able to bring us some positive values and energy. So crystals has been known to endow certain kind of energy, and the clear ones that you have, I believe, is supposed to bring clarity and positivity, like you just said. Singapore is a city with a diversity of cultures, and we all live here. The various cultural styles, designs, and craft all harmoniously integrating into the city-state. And it's with this in mind that we are actually presenting this in the spotlight, this time focusing on the Indian tradition of jewelry making and its craft. I have here with me a brand that's pretty new, and it's from a designer called Manjrie, and the brand is called Manjrie. It conveys a passion in preserving traditional Indian jewelry making, the craftsmanship and the design philosophy that has been passed on from long ago in India. And she has this passion to preserve it, and how she translates this into designs and jewelry that is relevant for today, and it's also in sync with the styles that we have in our fashion. Every piece of her jewelry is imbued with layers of meanings, and all of it is the effect of the coming together of the different craft of jewelry making that's from authentically the heritage of India. And this is how she puts together these stunning pieces, filled and rich with inspirations and history. All the pieces are versatile to go from day to night. And this brand is a multifaceted brand that appeals to women today because it's definitive and purposeful in its aesthetics. The one purpose, to preserve Indian craft of jewelry making and design into today's fine jewelry styles. Right now, we'd like to look at the first collection from Manjrie that I feel it's really, really interesting. It's centered around carved emeralds. In this collection, it is also embellished with poky diamonds, which is very much part of the Indian traditional jewelry culture. And I have here this wonderful piece. It is the carved emerald as a centerpiece, surrounded by poky diamonds that has different sizes and scattered around it to create a very organic aesthetics, and it plays onto the irregular sizes of the poky diamonds and to create this organic look. And it certainly is something that you could wear for the red carpet. But for those ladies who believe to have that drama in their everyday life, I would feel comfortable to wear this into the boardroom. But of course, for the red carpet ensemble, you can't do without a necklace. This is a triple tier necklace, also feature the same elements of the carved emerald, surrounded by irregular size of poky diamonds. And this is a three-layer look. Instead of having like strands and strands of diamonds around this is a very simple look that, if you want, could actually translate to a day wear as well when you go for a cocktail event. Although it would be excellent to be worn with a very low cut out the dress and one for a red carpet or events when it comes back. Another of a collection that actually applies the tradition of jewelry making we call Meenakari. It is the Indian tradition of enameling. Of course, it's filled with vibrant colors, and it's this little bird with the magical shoes telling tales of the Indian traditional stories that gives it a whimsical feel. At the same time, the construct is such that you can easily wear it for every day. Perfect. Right now, we're going to talk about Tsura's Tourmaline Dreams. This collection is very interesting because it features a variety of tourmalines in pink, greens, and even watermelon colors. And not only that, it's complemented with mutilated quartz and seashells, and I even spot a evil eye here. All together as a collection, it kind of put together Tara's world journeys around the globe. And at the same time, the entire aesthetics of her designs has the underlying tone of Indian heritage, but it's so faint, yet so modernized that you could feel it, but don't exactly see it. That is the beauty of converging and evolving an Indian heritage design and craft into contemporary aesthetics. For example, is this little pendant. I can feel the sense of Indian design influence, but you don't really see it. You see something very organic, you see something very, very eclectic, but it's modern. And that is the trend of how traditional Indian design culture has evolved into contemporary aesthetics that we see today. The other pieces that you can see here is this very, very modern look of these dangling earrings. It comes with a kaleidoscope of different cuts of gemstones in irregular shapes and different elements of seashells, evil eye, jade, and the different color tourmalines of green and pink. And next to it, so this is a wonderful example of flow, spirituality, and connectivity of different elements into one. Much, again, like Tara's world travels come together. And this necklace is a wondrous piece. To me, I feel like it's the travel around the world. You can see that with Tara's creations, it's an eclectic mix of different elements. In a way, it is a reminder of her spirituality. There is a flow, she's open to the possibilities, and there is no strict structure and there's no strict guide. It's all about the flow and giving in to what is out there and for it to come together. And that's how her jewelry is put together. The coming together of different elements to create a total holistic proposition that is beautiful, that's gorgeous, and is unified.